Hi guys, and welcome back to a new episode with Tanoka One. This week we are back after I've gotten several requests that I actually do some video book reviews. And I know I have posted numerous times regarding the fic that or not the fic, but the book that I was reading. So I read what is called Space Unicorn Blues. It is a book I heard about before I ever ended up getting it, and in the state of Alabama, the Books A Million did a single day sale where they did what they called a penny per page sale. So I was actually able to get this beauty for like $3.56. It was sort of delightful. Space Unicorn Blues was written by T.J.Berry. It is not, as people probably would think given the cover and the synopsis on the back, a comedy. It is not. It's just like a regular book. It just happens to take sci-fi and fantasy and merge them. Rather than fantasy in a fantasy setting or urban fantasy, you've got sci-fi fantasy, which is apparently becoming sort of a new trend. I've got this book, and then I actually got a couple others that I was able to get off Kindle daily deals for like $1.99 each, which that whole thing I have to stay off of because I will buy books all day, every day, because they're just like, every day there's new sales, and it's just like, okay, this one book for today only, it's $1. It's $1. And it's like, thank you. That's absolutely what I did not need in my life, was more books to read. That pile just keeps getting bigger. The wonderful thing about humanity and stories is the fact that there will never, ever, ever be any way for me to read them all. That's also a double-edged sword. There's no way for me to ever, ever be able to read all of them. So this is a literal sci-fi fantasy. It is not a comedy, and I read through some of the reviews, and several people went into it expecting it to be a comedy, and it's not. So they were disappointed and ended up giving it like low star reviews because they're like, it wasn't funny. It wasn't meant to be funny. It wasn't about comedy, kid. It wasn't about comedy. It was, you know, a really awesome book in the same vein that sci-fi has usually always been, is political. Let's start at the top with representation. This book, of the main characters who make up our motley crew, you have a biracial, asexual Indian. That's all his labels. You have a trans woman. You have a disabled lesbian vet who is both in a wheelchair and a interracial marriage. And then you have an old white guy. So, okay, white guy, not really a representation, but he's older, which pretty much never happens in media. Like, it's just not common. Everybody's usually younger. The themes deal heavily mostly in racism. Straight up racism. And basically, humans, read white people, suck. Which, hey, we've been done new. Bigotry, oppression, slavery, extortion, farming and stripping of natural resources to the point that the killing of people and planets and, you know, everything else. Just, you know, normal things white people, colonizers, do all the freaking time and have done throughout the history of, you know, mankind. It's something so to be proud of. You know, dehumanizing and demeaning of basically other races who they deem basically lesser because they're different. Or they either make the excuse of the fact that, well, if we had to defend ourselves because you were such a threat, blah, 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 blah. When initially the author introduces the fantasy element into the sci-fi setting is by basically the fact that the Bala, who are just all alien creatures, are actually what we know as fantasy creatures and are from legends and lore and different stuff like that, we've known them and included them into mythology and everything like that from when they've basically visited Earth or either gotten trapped on Earth or different stuff like that. So that's how humans knew about them to incorporate them into their stories. And it's not until the Bala basically come to Earth, or either I think the humans leave Earth, that ultimately the Bala makes that first step to introduce themselves. And the Bala can be any number of races. It can be the unicorns, it can be the fairies, it can be the dryads, it can be the centaurs, the minotaurs, you know, any of them. They're all referred to as the Bala. It didn't matter that the alien Bala had familiar shapes known to humans through centuries of myth and legend, unicorns, fairies, and elves, or that they offered to use their magic to help the colonists survive in their new home. The humans fired the opening shots in what would become a 100 Years' War between the humans and the Bala. Growing up, Gary watched a ragtag collection of starving humans become a highly efficient colonizing machine. War galvanized them and gave them the will to live. Humans were never more persistent than when they were wrong. And wow, that's pretty much, yeah. Yeah. But again, read humans, white people. I'm like, does any part of that sound familiar? Several times over, it's almost like, oh wait, human history, white people. So weird. Like basically this whole plot, it's like different, you know, same song, different verse. Oh look, humans did that. Again. Did not see that coming. Total plot twist. Could not have told you. Oh wait. Awkward. People get the reputations that they get because of their actions. Sort of how it goes. Anyways, this is not meant as a comedy or like a silly romp through space. It's not. And unfortunately, I think people thought it was going to be. I actually thought it was going to be until I started reading it. You know, I thought they were going to touch on serious themes or whatever, but then ultimately it was going to be more comedic. It's not. Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, apparently all of them making these exact same points weren't enough because people still just completely missed the messages. Like, you know, racism. And yet, there is still always that guy who, you know, basically has lived through to today and learned nothing. And people want to make excuses. Oh, they're old. And they lived through every civil rights movement through today and learned nothing. Do you see my problem? It's actually a problem we're currently facing with media and Star Wars and sci-fi. Is the fact that, you know, you've got, and genres are doing what they've always done. What stories have always done is teach morals and lessons and warnings. But instead nowadays you've got that guy who instead cries victim and unfairness, pointing blame everywhere else except, you know, hey, right here. Rather than accepting that he might actually be part of the problem, you know, instead they just get defensive and angry. And it's just like, how did you miss the whole freaking point? Every freaking time. Over and over. That's part of the problem. Not only is it part of the problem, they literally made that a character in the book. And I didn't realize, I thought maybe, okay, he'd be the perfect, you know, basically, for that. Except for the fact that how to do it organically. In which case it's done very well. And absolutely, it's just like, no, you know the guy. We all know the guy. But the story starts and basically this one character, you're just like, God, rude. And then like later on it's like, oh, he's a dick. And by the end of the book, oh, he needs to die. In which case I have yet to send a message to the author on Twitter. I am very much looking to the sequel to this in the hopes that said person will die. That needs to be the name of it. We really, really need to name it. And just like, yes, yeah, yeah, must die. You know who. I really, really enjoyed this book. I loved the fact that literally it's about, you know, okay, yes, it's about racism. And the fact that, hey, humanity, you don't learn. In fact, right now, we're currently getting worse. It's really depressing. As you go through the story, and you also, you know, it's about racism, of course, but then you've also got it where it alternates the different points of view of the stories, and you have the characters grappling with just trying to survive the present while also trying to make peace with the past and with themselves and also with each other. And like I said, the main 4 characters, biracial, asexual, Indian. Then you have the trans woman, the disabled military vet, lesbian who is in a wheelchair, and also in an interracial marriage, who her wife basically got deported and she has to go rescue her. They are sort of the big epic love story of the book. It's sort of amazing. I'm looking, again, very forward to finding out what happens to their story. No spoilers. It's about not only, you know, like I said, making peace with each other, making peace with themselves, making peace with their own actions, with the other person's actions, but it's learning to forgive themselves and forgive others. And realizing at what point to cut the toxic people out of your life that don't deserve to be there. No excuse they can give you, no guilting, no, you know, anything they can do to basically keep dragging on you is good enough for you to keep them in your life when you deserve better. And they're just going to basically use you and cast you aside as serves their best interest anyways. So I really enjoyed this book. I would offer to do a giveaway, but I didn't pay full price for this. And I really encourage and would like to support this author getting this book and getting more books published. And so I encourage you to buy your own copy. That sounds absolutely horrible, and I don't mean it that way. Again, I paid like $3 for that. I feel like I cheated the author somehow, or the publishers or something. So I would really like to encourage and support this book, you know, and future books like it. So therefore I encourage you to, of course, go out and buy your own. Hopefully you can get it on sale. In which case, that's it. My next book, I'm actually going to be reading What Happened by Hillary Clinton. That was a gift that I got in the mail off of my public Amazon wish list. If y'all buy me anything off my public wish list, because occasionally y'all do, which is very sweet and very thoughtful, and I appreciate it so much, you just don't know. But also, like, my birthday is coming up and Christmas is coming up, and I usually get gifts around that time as well. I think there's a way to put a note in or something when you're purchasing it, so you can be like, hey, either why you're giving it to me, or, you know, a little message, or let me know who to thank. So I don't have to, I feel almost sort of like I'm bragging. If I just be like, hey, public post, I reblog a couple of times saying thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know who sent me this, but thank you. You know, and I've thought about offering to do a book opening. No, box opening. Package opening? Something. Basically, I open what it is and I don't know what's in it, and I open it on screen so you can see, like, my live reaction. I can do that if y'all like. Again, I'm pretty much down to whatever it is y'all want me to do. I am here to entertain. I literally spent days, weeks, months, years writing you stories and then recording them. So, being entertaining is kind of something I do. Not so much this way. This is new for me. Also, I'm dead tired and in my pajamas right now, so I'm probably not the height of my comedic self, which at work is usually a morbid comedic self. We get our coping mechanisms where we can, and so yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Again, Space Unicorn Blues sounds like an episode of Cowboy Bebop made a baby with Outlaw Star, and if you've never seen either of those, I pity you. God, what do you do with your life? It is 10 o'clock right now and I'm in my pajamas and desperate to go to bed, but I'm doing this because I promised I would. So I don't actually know what's popular or if there's like a theme to how these are done, and it's just like, you know what, this is me, I would like a thing. Here's the thing. You should also like the thing because the thing made my life better. And it's just like, oh yes, by the way, and read my fics. No kidding. Like, while you're here, let me promo this one thing. So on that note, I'm going to bed. I will keep y'all updated as I continue to read more books. I have quite a few books already on my to be read list, and if you would like, I will continue to do book reviews via video with you, as well as posting a text version, which is much more simplified than this because I ramble. Yeah, and if you have any other requests for videos you would like me to do in the future, by all means, please let me know, and I will happily do them. Bye!